Amazon tells the story that the vast majority of its workers are paid well, get good benefits, are happy. Then you have Senator Bernie Sanders, beating the drum, saying that is not true. What is the truth?
The truth is complicated, and there's probably not a singular truth. I mean, this is a company now that employs 1.2 million people. You find pockets of discontent and happiness everywhere you go. And in Bessemer, Alabama, unless that verdict is overturned, employees there voted against a unionization attempt. So, look, the life of a worker in any warehouse, and particularly in a fulfillment center, is not easy. They are measured by algorithms. They are sometimes fired by algorithms. The company does a lot of things to ensure that if people are stagnating, they leave, right? They're put on performance improvement plans, or there are no raises after 3 years. And so in some ways, it's not a very empathetic arrangement. But it's, as I said, it's complicated, and there are parts of the world where the economic reality is so dire that actually a $15 an hour wage in an Amazon fulfillment center is a comparatively good occupation. And so, look, I mean, I think there are plenty of ways in which Amazon can improve, and Bezos has finally acknowledged that and says he wants to devote more time to it. And at the same time, probably lots to gain from employees banding together and maybe successfully bargaining collectively.
Well, and it's not just lawmakers, it's not just employees, it's the sellers themselves, which is part of what this new antitrust suit is based on. There's a huge conflict between how, obviously Amazon enables all of these small businesses to reach the world, and yet sellers complain that, they're forced to offer the lowest prices on Amazon, even lower than their own websites.
Right.
What are the problems that you see? Because you went back and you talked to some sellers who 5 years ago were singing Amazon's praises.
Right. Yeah, let me explain that. So in lieu of an overarching poll that measured the sentiment of Amazon sellers, which it was really hard to do, I thought I will go to all the sellers who Bezos mentioned in his investor letters over the years. And almost to a one, they were really disgruntled by how things had turned out and had moved largely off of Amazon. And I think what that shows is the Amazon frontier, the e-commerce playing field, but in particular Amazon, is almost in turmoil. It's changing all the time. The playing field is increasingly tilted in favor of overseas sellers with lower cost bases, Chinese sellers close to their manufacturers, and it's really hard to compete. And that's a reality, and a bitter one, I think, for a lot of sellers, and one that Amazon, I think, has gone to great lengths to obfuscate in their messaging and in some of their internal marketing to sellers. But look, I mean, you sort of asked about what are the anti-competitive elements there, and I think there are a number of things they do, like the price parity provision that the DC AG is calling out, where Amazon is insisting that sellers sell at a lower price or an equal price on Amazon as elsewhere, that the company's gotten so big that really deserve more attention. Amazon's going to defend it, but look, they could also walk away from it, and it probably doesn't hurt their business all that much.
Well, and you talked about AWS. Do you see other parts of Amazon's business, Amazon's power, that should be scrutinized?
The most challenging thing, and hopefully the thing that the book helps with, is how complex a company this is, how opaque the connections are between the various divisions. I think that some of the things that will get the most attention are the easiest to understand. So we talked about price parity, but also Amazon's stewardship of its private label business. The fact that when you search for batteries, Amazon Basics shows up, instead of the competing brands. Or when you search for nutritional supplements, the ones that Amazon is doing now happen to be the ones that the third-party sellers had the most success with. And this question of whether Amazon is peaking at the vault of data that it has from its platform, utility for other sellers. And so look, I think that'll be looked at. I think Amazon probably already senses that it's vulnerable, and it's probably started to change. But clearly there was behavior in the past that needs to be evaluated in terms of how Amazon has grown some of these new businesses and become such an unstoppable juggernaut.
Do you think Amazon should or will be broken up?
I think the path to a legal breakup, as we saw with Microsoft in the 90s, is years long and probably ineffectual in the end. Because as I said, it's not a traditional monopoly. So I have a dim view of that. As to whether they voluntarily do it at some point, I feel like Bezos was never really into that kind of financial engineering, and the company gets a lot of value by being together. But down the line, as he becomes maybe less of a force there, if outside investors clamor for it, it probably would unlock some value. So I do expect we'll hear more about it.